Money isn't just math, it's memory. Let's get one thing straight. Your financial habits aren't just about numbers, they're about narratives. Behind every impulse buy, every hoarding behavior, every "I'm bad with money" story, there's often a memory, a feeling, a wound. Other people called it healing their inner child. Sometimes, spending money on yourself isn't indulgence, it's repair. It's giving your inner child what they were denied: care, attention, safety, even joy. Maybe it's buying the art supplies you were told were a waste. Booking a massage to rest was once seen as laziness. Taking yourself out to a nice dinner because, for once, you want to feel deserving. These aren't just purchases, they're acts of self-parenting. When done with intention, spending becomes a way to rewrite old stories. Today, we're talking about how trauma, upbringing, and childhood programming shape the way we deal with money as adults. Because before you fix your finances, you've got to understand your financial psychology. Most of us didn't grow up talking openly about money, but we felt it. We heard it in whispers. We absorbed it through stress, silence, or scarcity. Psychologists call these internalized beliefs money scripts. They're the unconscious stories we tell ourselves, often formed by age 7. They say, money is the root of all evil. The phrase, money is the root of all evil, is a misquote from the Bible. The full verse is actually, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. This distinction matters. Money itself isn't evil, it's a neutral tool. But when people become obsessed with it, prioritizing wealth over integrity, relationships, or well-being, that's when harmful behavior can follow. So the real issue isn't money, it's how we relate to it. We can't afford that. It's something many hear growing up, especially in households facing financial stress. While it might be factually true in the moment, repeated constantly without context can create a scarcity mindset. Over time, this mindset teaches children to associate money with fear, limitation, and lack. Instead of learning how to budget, prioritize, or plan for future purchases, they internalize the idea that there's never enough. This can lead to chronic anxiety around spending, or conversely, impulsive splurging when money finally feels available. Rich people are greedy is a common money script rooted in mistrust, often passed down in families or communities that have experienced economic hardship or inequality. It paints wealth as inherently immoral, and those who have it as selfish or corrupt. While some wealthy individuals may indeed act unethically, this belief oversimplifies reality. Not all rich people are greedy. Many use their wealth to create jobs, support causes, or invest in community change. But if you grow up hearing this phrase, you might unconsciously associate success with shame or guilt. This can lead to self-sabotage, avoiding wealth, undercharging, or rejecting financial opportunities because deep down you fear becoming one of them. "I have to earn love by being useful" often stems from childhood experiences where affection, attention, or approval was tied to performance, like getting good grades, helping around the house, or being emotionally supportive. Over time, this creates a deep-rooted sense that your worth is conditional, that love must be earned, not given freely. Financially, this can show up in several ways: overworking, undercharging, or constantly giving to others at your own expense. You might struggle to spend on yourself or accept help because doing so feels selfish or unearned. Healing this belief means learning that you're worthy, not because of what you do for others, but simply because of who you are. These scripts become rules in your adult life, rules that you might not even realize you're following. Let's talk about trauma, not just the big, obvious stuff, like abuse or poverty, but the subtle forms. Growing up with emotional neglect. When a child grows up without consistent emotional support, where their feelings are dismissed, ignored, or invalidated, they often learn to suppress their own needs. As adults, this can translate into financial self-neglect. They may avoid spending money on themselves, feel undeserving of comfort or joy, or struggle to recognize their own value. Saving or investing might feel pointless because they've been conditioned to believe their needs don't matter. Constant instability, living in a home with unpredictable income, frequent moves, or emotional chaos like parental conflict or addiction wires the brain for survival, not long-term planning. Adults raised in this environment may develop a scarcity mindset, hoarding money out of fear, panic spending when they get it, or feeling unable to trust stability even when it's present. They may also find it difficult to make financial plans because deep down, everything still feels temporary. A parent who tied love to achievement. when love is conditional on success. A child learns that being worthy means being productive. As adults, this often shows up as workaholism, chronic overachieving, and tying self-worth to income. These individuals may chase high-paying jobs, yet still feel unfulfilled. They might also feel guilty for resting or spending on themselves unless they've earned it through hard work. Money becomes a symbol of approval, not just a tool for life. Each of these patterns doesn't just affect emotions. They shape how we view, use, and relate to money as adults. These experiences wire your brain for survival, not abundance. Even when you're doing well financially, your nervous system may stay stuck in survival mode. Hoarding money, never spending, even on necessities, can feel like protection. But instead of security, it often leads to anxiety, guilt around spending, and a lack of enjoyment or comfort in the present. There is also those who overspend to feel in control. In chaotic or emotionally deprived environments, spending can become a way to reclaim power. Buying things gives an immediate hit of control, pleasure, or self-soothing, especially if you were once told, "We can't afford that," or made to feel undeserving. Overspending isn't about irresponsibility. It's often a coping mechanism. The challenge is learning to soothe yourself without sabotaging your future. Sabotage success because wealth feels unsafe. If you were taught, explicitly or implicitly, that money changes people, causes conflict, or separates you from your community, you may associate wealth with danger. So even if you earn more or attract opportunities, part of you might push it away, quitting suddenly, undercharging, or making risky financial choices. This is subconscious self-protection. To move past it, you need to rewrite the story that having money doesn't mean losing love, identity, or safety. Or maybe you're stuck in financial freeze mode and feel you might avoid opening bills or emails, ignore bank statements or budgeting apps, delay making important financial decisions, procrastinate on tasks like filing taxes or paying off debt. This response is similar to the reaction in trauma. For someone who grew up in a household where money was a source of fear or chaos, healing financial freeze starts with compassion and small, manageable steps, like checking your balance once a week without judgment or breaking tasks into micro-actions. The key is learning that money isn't a threat. It's a tool you can learn to work with safely. That's not laziness. That's a nervous system reacting to old wounds. And then there's shame, a deep, quiet force that shapes our relationship with money far more than we realize. If you've internalized beliefs like, "I don't deserve to be rich," "People like me don't get ahead," "If I have money, others will resent me," then you may unconsciously repel financial growth. It's not because you don't want abundance. It's because part of you, trained by experience, doesn't believe it's safe. So you sabotage, downplay your success, or give it all away. The guilt creeps in when you do allow yourself to enjoy what you've earned. The shame arrives when you imagine others judging you for wanting more. Healing this pattern isn't about budgeting apps or strict no-spend challenges. It's about gently asking yourself, what am I really trying to feel when I spend? Or when should I avoid spending? And learning over time that financial self-care is not selfish. It's a powerful act of emotional repair. The first step isn't budgeting. It's awareness. Ask yourself, what was money like growing up? Think back to the tone, language, and emotion around money in your childhood home. Was it always tight? Were there sudden highs and lows? Was money talked about openly or avoided like a secret? The way your caregivers handled money likely became your emotional blueprint, teaching you whether money was a source of safety, conflict, shame, or control. Understanding this can help you see where your current beliefs come from and begin to rewrite them. When do I feel most anxious about money? Pay attention to the moments that trigger stress. Is it when the rent is due? When you spend on yourself? It's about what the situation mirrors emotionally. These are clues to unresolved wounds that are asking to be healed. Am I reacting to the present or the past? This is the hardest but most important question. Are you really responding to your current financial situation? Or to an old emotional memory it stirs up? Maybe your bank account is fine, but spending makes you panic because it reminds you of growing up without enough. Or maybe you keep hustling for more money, not because you need it, but because you're still trying to prove you're good enough. When you can separate past fear from present facts, that's when you regain true financial power. Not just with your money, but with your emotions too. Then start building safer systems. Automate your savings. Take the emotion out of the decision, even if it's just $10 a week. Set up automatic transfers to a savings account. This helps bypass the stress or guilt that can come with choosing to save. Automation turns good intentions into a consistent habit. No willpower required, and it builds the muscle of trusting yourself to prepare for the future. Use cash envelopes for high trigger categories. If you find yourself overspending in certain areas, like food delivery, shopping, or entertainment, try using cash envelopes. Physically setting aside a limit for these categories makes your spending more intentional. It adds a tangible sense of control, especially if digital transactions feel abstract or hard to track. It's not about restriction, it's about creating clarity and boundaries where your emotional wiring needs extra support. So if you're struggling, don't just look at your budget, look at your story, because the moment you start rewriting that story, you're not just changing your finances, you're changing your life. If this resonated with you, don't just go to the next video. Pause, reflect. Let us know what money message did you grow up with. And if you want more content that explores the human side of personal finance, hit subscribe.